All right, welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for attending our special called meeting of the Committee of the Whole on May 8th, and I would like to call on the clerk to call roll.
Councilmember Smith.
Present.
Councilmember Stallings. Councilmember Marsh.
Here.
Councilmember Crabtree.
Here.
Councilmember Craig. Here. Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Sumner. Here. Councilmember Meek.
Here.
Councilmember Bogard.
Present.
Councilmember Velez.
Here.
Councilmember Bell. Councilmember Dowd.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, I will say Councilmember Bell, his son has senior night tonight, so he is there, and Councilmember Stallings, her child has a program at school, and there's a chance they could be here before the end of the night. So just want to let you know about those two. So if you would, please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll jump into item 4, approval of minutes from our meeting on April 17th.
Motion.
Motion. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next, unfinished business, we have none, and we're going to jump right into new business. Item A, fiscal year 25-26 operational budget discussion. Mr. Gary.
Good evening. I'm Gary Rubish. I'm the budget officer. I'll be presenting the operational and the capital budget tonight. First, we'll start with the operational budget. The mayor continued his focus on growing home, the employees, departments, city buildings, cleanup-wide city program, public safety, and increase in road repairs this year was another big topic. It's a balanced budget. There's no new taxes. The admin team budget considerations that we're presenting to you tonight for the general fund, it's $56,936,517. MRA, it's $1,329,507. And then for the capital fund, $2,701,508. Any questions on that? All right, revenue projections, the 2% growth factor for both the payroll and the insurance premium tax. You're looking there, and then the property tax were based off of the actuals. Any questions on revenues? That's pretty cut dry. City agencies, partnerships that make a difference. We met with all the mandated agencies that were formed by City Council or executive order. This year, it's a little different. This year we started a program called Hoptown Helps. It was passed in late March by City Council. Sent out that MO to all the non-mandated agencies that we had funded in the past to let them know we had changed the way we're doing things now. I don't need to go over it, but it was met with a lot of positive from agencies that had never applied before, didn't know how, but they seen it out on social media. They saw the press release, and they're excited. We have a question and answer session next week on the 13th at 4:30. A lot of them have come and said they want to be here to see if the information they can receive. Under normal circumstances, we would be doing a workshop that's mandatory for every year. It's in March by the MO. This year, the MO passing so late in March, we were unable to do that. So we're going to do question and answer. The major departmental-wide changes this year. COLA this year was recommended at 3%. The state was 2.9. We went for 3. The CERS pension rate decrease, as you know, for the second year in a row now, it has decreased, and it was a reduction of $454,000. The new positions and loss of positions, that ended up equating to about $957,000 between all departments. Health trust funding increase, we did increase that this year. It's going to be an additional $62,000 going into health trust. We've had to watch it over the last couple of years. This year, I think we've leveled it out pretty good. Next year, hoping to add a little bit more. Contract labor increased quite a bit this year due to circumstances within departments and everything like that, but that's up almost $250,000. Insurance continues to rise. We've, again, for another year, we've added more funds to that to help cover that cost. Debt service also went up some, as you're all aware. And agencies, even though there was some adjustment on the agencies, it ended up at the end only being a $5,000 difference from what was last year. Department-wide payroll recommendations. I can give you by department. Administrative, for the administration department, it was about $132,000 difference based on the recommended payroll changes for positions, promotions, stuff like that. Information technology, you have a $153,000 loss. Police department, you have a $264,000 loss. That's mainly due to the SROs. Fire department, over $1 million, but that's all dedicated for the most part to the new firefighters. It's going to be manning Station 5 when it opens up. Fire prevention and Fort Campbell, city maintenance, parks, sportsplex, and everything, they're all budgeted for increases, but that's mostly due to all the certifications that will be received over the next year, and with that comes a great increase. Any questions so far on any payroll? There's got a couple more slides on different departments, but admin, payroll specialist specific, payroll specialist 2 to payroll coordinator, admin clerk 2 to accounting coordinator. These positions are being created to promote more leadership within the finance department. I don't know if anybody, a few of you have been here for a while. There was pretty well just one tier of grade positions in the finance department. Melissa's done a great job of adding positions to create responsibility, create leadership, have people move up. Grade change for administrative coordinator, that's going up from 14 to a 17 based on the responsibilities that are going to be increasing with that position. A grade change for the revenue enhancement officer from a 14 to a 16. That's due to it's going to be taking over, well, it already is, but managing other positions. And some of those positions are at the same grade it currently is, and it doesn't seem right to have somebody managing other people at the same position, at the same grade, I'm sorry. POI to Technology and Public Information Director, it's about $11,364 and a change. And then receptionist times 2 to admin assistant, that's losing the 2 admin assistants, part-timers that sit at the desk. And that moves over to a full-time admin assistant. And there's the difference on there, 47,000. That's one of the larger ones. Any questions? Next slide. ID department payroll recommendations. Chief Technology Officer. Again, I mentioned that earlier. That's that position. If we don't fill that position, it's a net gain for us of $161,000 on the budget. The contract labor, though, is increased by $100,000 to help with the RFP that had been sent out. Police department payroll recommendations, police patrol officer 12 to a police captain. Crime tech lab went from a PRN to a full-time to add a third crime tech lab tech. And police RSRO times 4, which we talked about earlier, that reduction of $394,000. Any questions? Next slide. Fire department payroll recommendations. I talked about this earlier. It's over $1 million, almost 1.2. The firefighter EMT, grade 12 times 9. Firefighter lieutenant, grade 14 times 3. And fire training officer at a grade 17. Here's changes to administration and other departments that are based just on operational. This is not the payroll side of it. Advertising, marketing, it's up, going up $27,000. That's just due to pushing more information out to the city. Contract labor is going up $90,000. That's based on adding more help to the legal services. And equipment and furniture, we're trying to upgrade some seats and or replace some seats. We're pretty well on like a capital budget. We're pretty well on a chair replacement plan now. So as the price of these have gone up, it's gotten insane. So
I already have my initials on the bottom of this one. So
very nice.
Yeah, he's breaking it in tonight.
Sorry.
For the tax office, there was no major change. Information technology, the contract labor we talked about, that's a total of $139,000 with the addition. Hardware and media is going up some, and along with software upgrades. There is as you're all aware, there's some set for cybersecurity, but I'll get into that later. Legislative legal consultant, it's been, like legal consultant's been used more, so we're adding more to the fund. Police department, there's no major changes. ECC, there's no changes. Fire department, vehicle maintenance and repair, they've added some vehicles. Some of their other vehicles are getting a little bit more just repaired. They keep running pretty high on repair costs due to the labor costs. So we've added money to that line. Building maintenance repairs. Everybody's aware of some of the condition of some of the fire houses. And of course, with an addition of another large firehouse. And then turnout gear, there's more money focused on helping with that. Fire prevention, demolitions is increased at $150,000. Pushing towards completing more demolitions throughout citywide. Public work admin, no major changes. City maintenance, contract labor up a little bit along with city maintenance, but very, very small changes in the scope of things. Next slide. Fort Campbell contracts, $50,000. Pavement marketing supplies, I believe this is based on actual cost this year. That's why that's gone down. And then tools and equipment up a little bit. Service center, professional fees, a little bit of certifications, $5,000. Parks and Rec ground maintenance, they added more to the ground maintenance line, and Sportsplex with the small equipment, replacing some of the small equipment. And the bluegrass splash, there's contract labor up a little bit. That's for actuals. That's the reason it's adjusted. Next slide. Any questions before we go to from operational to capital?
So I'm going to ask a question. Can you go in detail the Hoptown Helps and kind of explain that a little further? There's a lot of confusion.
Yep, with Hoptown Helps, of course, as you know, it was passed in March by the City Council. What it does now is it opens it up to all 501c3s within the city limits of Hopkinsville that serves the Hopkinsville community. Anybody can now apply. The application process actually opened up on April 1st, and it goes through May 31st. Even though we know it's a Saturday, but it's okay. It's online. You can fill out the job form. With the job form, though, you got to stay there and fill the whole form out at one time. But there is a downloadable PDF fillable version. Print that off. I've already received some applications filled out. There's a list of documentation that needs to be submitted with that, basically backing up your request on what you're asking for. And then we have changed it now. Any 501c3 that's working with the adults that are working directly with children need background checks. So, and I'm trying to think. Anything else you can think of, Melissa, on that one?
Just that after the applications close, it will go to the future funding committee. We'll review the grants and all the applications, make the recommendation in July, and then the funds should be awarded in August.
Yeah. So it's a little longer late in the year compared to previous years for those 501c3s that were receiving it due to the extended timeline for future funding to make their recommendations, city council, to the mayor to present it and to get it approved through city council. So that's the reasoning why it's just a little bit of a delay on that. But going forward, this will be the norm. So I know this year, unfortunately, extends it compared to what last year where we started. And, but that's the system now.
Well, I'll say yesterday, day before, well, since the budget came out Friday, several phone calls about the timing and how much time they had to adjust their budgets. I've talked to Margaret Prim several times about the Arts Council, and I just like to, I'm gonna call on her to come speak and just kind of give her how it's working for her, how it might not work for her. And I've just got some questions if you.
I'm ready.
So
Thank you, Travis, for.
When and how were you notified about not being in this year's budget?
So I was notified when I found out at an event that one of my cohorts that were usually in the budget together, we were getting ready to travel, and I wanted to remind her to make sure to get her city and county budget in. And she said she had turned her city budget in that day, and I had not received anything, an email in the mail, or an email about the city budget. Okay. So I was very shocked and came back. That was a Thursday night, came back Friday and contacted the budget committee on why the Arts Council did not receive that email.
So he just talked about the timing and how long it's going to take to probably get that funding. Not receiving that funding in a timely manner, what does that mean to you and your organization? Yeah,
we run the Arts Council like a business. So we're on a fiscal year, I'm sure as most as you all run a business. And we start budgeting for the next year well in advance. And also in our nature of our business, we have to book acts out and book programming, and we do that a year in advance. So to find out less than 60 days ago that 6.4% of my budget was going away. And then last week on a national level, the National Endowment of the Arts has gone away. So that's another 5.8% of our budget that's gone away. So for me to open up as a fiscal year, and I start my fiscal year July 1st, I'm $84,000 in the hole. And we've enjoyed a long relationship with the city of Hopkinsville for over 30 years and been a light item in the budget. So never did I anticipate that this was not going to happen. We're the major economic development driver in downtown Hopkinsville. I've got a lot of economic numbers on that. I'll be happy to share. We do 200 events a year. It's devastating to us. And what it will mean to us is a decrease in programming and staffing. So,
has anyone in the city, within the city, told you that they get you back in the budget?
I've heard that I'll be taken care of, but I can't. I mean, I'm a businesswoman and I can't run on I'll be taken care of. I've got to know from you all as the city of Hopkinsville, are you going to support a major economic driver up there? That it's not. I'm passionate because I have to be, because I've got 41,000 people that come to the Alhambra Theater. I've got 15,000 school children that we serve every year. And if I'm not passionate about it and what we're doing up there, and when we do it, we are 13 years ago when I started this, none of this stuff was downtown. And I'm telling you, we're facing some major problems next year, and to lose a partner, I mean, I feel like, it's been personally a big disappointment for myself personally, and my staff who sits behind me, which is a staff of five people who, while we don't collect a salary from the city of Hopkinsville or the county we are community servants, and we're building something that it's a devastating blow for us to not be included and not to feel like that the city is a partner with us. I look at the city's website. The first thing I see is the Alhambra Theater. We're quality of life. We're our only cultural hub in this community. And I know I see many of you all in the theater, many of you all's kids, children in the theater. We do 200 events a year. So, it's devastating to us for this to happen. I get it, but I get we're also an economic driver in our community. And I think we've probably, on the averages that I see from the numbers I see, about a $2 million participant in the revenues to our city. So I think we're important. I think we deserve to be in, and I would ask the city council to consider putting us as a line item in the budget. We've been that way for 25 plus years.
Anybody have any questions for Yes,
have a
ma'am.
question. It's actually more maybe for Doug than for Margaret. So we talk about mandated versus non-mandated agencies. What would it take to make the Arts Council a mandated agency where it would be a line item each year?
I would need to discuss that with Melissa, but most likely an ordinance. Because all of our mandated agencies are, have been basically formed by ordinance.
Okay.
I think council action is necessary.
Yeah, cool.
Well, I'll just say, I believe in the arts and I believe in the job that you and your team do. And I do agree you're an income producer. When there's an event going on at your facility, the mixer, the local, the brewery, everything's full downtown. You can't get in to eat. So I'll go ahead and make the first change. I'll make the motion. We fund the Arts Council at $44,000, which was last year's funding level. The Arts Council to remain a line item in our budget going forward, and that $44,000 to be moved over from our Hoptown Helps Fund.
I'll
I'll
second that.
second.
Motion and a second. Anybody, any further comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
Myself and my staff and my patrons and the children in this community will cherish the relationship going forward, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion that we form an ordinance that this become a mandatory agency.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further comment on that? All those in,
Doug had some research to do before that could come about, is that
Yeah.
correct?
And I'll take that, into consideration.
all right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes as well.
And I did want to reach out and say, I'm sorry that Margaret felt that she was not notified in time. It's just that when she had talked to other agencies, those were mandated agencies, so we were meeting with them. We just couldn't meet with the non-mandated agencies yet until we just figured out if Hoptown Helps was a go or not.
Right.
So, but we tried to send it out merely the day after it passed. All right. Any other big ticket items here?
Is there any other changes operational wise?
IT director,
Yeah, you can.
I didn't know we would go back to that or do it under the section. Let me get to the right tab here. So on the position for IT director, let's see, to change to a chief technology officer of pay grade 22. You go in a little detail of what that move, or Troy or Mayor, what that is, exactly what we're asking for here?
Well, with the resignation of the previous chief financial officer, it has now been looked at for, that spot will not be filled. There's going to go to a co-managed IT services, can't speak English, working with our current IT department and another agency that's selected by Troy, the mayor, and the department heads. That covers, the IT helps cover the IT services, so that is the reason why there was contract labor. There was $100,000 moved over there to help pay for that service. And then the public information officer would move into a new position, which was now the public and technology. Let me read it.
It's confusing to us.
Too many big
Information
words.
and technology director? Is that what
There
you're
you
looking
go.
for? Yeah.
Technology and Public Information Director. And so there is a small grade, there is a grade increase on there, which ended up being $11,304 or $64 change in the current pay now as what it would be July 1st. It's actually a plus of about $40,000 of a saving when all of this was said and done.
So we don't have, I know that the plan is to outsource some of the IT work. Bids are out waiting for that to happen. We don't have those back yet. We don't know the numbers.
We do.
We do.
We do know them?
We do.
And what is it being awarded? Are we good to say?
It has not been awarded yet, but the lowest bid was started at about $104,000. It's up to them to decide. It doesn't have to be the lowest, as you all know.
I guess I'll speak to the other council members. So I had some questions on this job specifically, on the job description. The discussion of moving a pay grade 17 up to a pay grade 21 just instantly caught my attention because it's a big jump. So then I pulled the minimum qualifications for what the current IT director that is no longer here are versus what the PIO is currently now position and what the information technology director position that they've recommended is. And the thing that caught my eye is we've dumbed down the minimum qualifications from what the director position was. And as an example, the director position was you needed to have a knowledge of computer and communication technology with an emphasis on networking and microcomputer systems. We changed that and put in, we completely removed the emphasis on networking and microcomputer systems. We changed it from on the experience level, where you had to have a bachelor's degree with a major in information systems technology, and we just changed it to public communications. We dropped the field of study completely off of what a master's degree requirement was. On the preferred skills and knowledge, we completely removed the 2-year experience that was needed with virtualizing and replication and backup and recovery. So we've dumbed down the qualifications, and we're wanting to combine the position, which I think is great anytime you combine a position. But I have a problem with the way that it seems to be going. And when we create jobs, they're not supposed to be created with someone specific in mind. But it's hard to not think that this isn't being designed for that when you read the minimum job qualifications. And my motion is very simple, and that is that we take this out.
Motion, is there a second? Second. Any further? Sure.
The reason the pay grade was at that because the other IT positions started at grade 19. So there needs to be some space between the 19 or between that technologist position and the person overseeing that function. The reason we're doing this is because of the way it's set up currently is we actually don't have enough staff. If you talk to our current IT department, they think we need at least 2 or possibly even 3 more people. Well, that runs out, if we do it at the lowest pay grade, at the lowest price, about $88,000 per person. If we can get them at that lowest pay rate. But what I'm trying to explain this, part of this, us going with a contract position, allows us to have the police department, ECC, the fire department, and EMS covered, with part of the cost being covered by EMS and by ECC. So we're not having to pay, but a portion of that would be the $104,000.
So basically 90% of the city's IT stuff is about to be outsourced.
I don't know, 90%.
This employee will be supervising 2 people?
Correct.
It's the same pay grade as someone like a Mr. Herndon, who probably supervises 30, 40 people?
But even with that, it's not an issue just supervision. They'll still be overseeing contract maintenance, going through that process, making sure whether it be cell phones, things such that, all be covered under that. And the communication side of it. Part of this is not just looking at it now, but trying to look a little bit longer term. Because the longer term, the more things we add, we're going to have to look at either adding staff or contracting out more services. And trying to be cost conscious is one way for us to do this. By combining some positions. And it is, if you want to say tailored toward a particular one and combining it, that's what we're doing. Because we have someone in a position and we're combining those.
So we're creating a position for somebody that already exists here, so there's no process involved.
Did anyone else apply?
Anybody else want the job?
We're basically upgrading the position is what we're doing.
But
Very
did
similar to
anyone
what we're
else
doing.
apply for the job when it was open?
We did advertise the chief
It's
secretary.
never been open.
Let me stop you real quick. There's a careful line here that we can't cross.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot talk about individual personnel. We can talk about the job description and funding that position, but anything else about who holds that position or who will hold it in the future, that's an executive function and will be outside the scope of a permissible discussion today.
So let me ask this. So the PIO position is combining with this, not person position.
Correct.
But does that mean the PIO position that we've had for the last year, however long they've been here, is not a full-time job to begin with? Because now we're putting them with another one, so was it not?
I think we're crossing that line.
But it absolutely is a full-time job. That person has exceeded my expectations. The list I put on her is nonstop. This is what I've been trying to say for 6 years. You can visibly see how we're reaching out to the community. That is why there's an increase in marketing and to the public. As a city decides to not have a communications director, it was a tragedy that we weren't really being transparent when we sit here and talk about it all day. And let's talk about why we're here, because fire and ECC and police and all of them didn't have the services they need. You know this from your position, when servers sat in boxes for a year and not put in 911, when the MDTs weren't in ambulances, when things were going on that I would rather you ask me these questions than why I let someone get sexually assaulted on the trail because the blue boxes weren't working or checked. This is why we're here. It's not optional. I've got to protect public safety. This is why we're here.
And part of this
I
is going
agree.
with
If
the
that
contract
existed for years,
services.
that's definitely a leadership issue. I agree.
But the contract services also allow us to have anywhere from 12 to 20 additional staff members that contract services to provide for the public safety side. And that's why we feel this is a good option and the most cost-effective option at this particular time.
So let me throw something out. As most of you know, I have worked in IT for many years. I've got over 30 years experience in IT. I work for a larger company, and before I retired, the way that they did IT management was in towers. Someone may have charge of a plant or legal or different department. In my case, I was a relatively technical person because I had grown up in it. But in other places, the IT manager they weren't all that technical because they were doing contracts, they were managing contracts, they were managing vendors, they were managing employees. It's extremely expensive to go hire someone to do networks. It's extremely expensive to hire someone to do servers and telecom and radio. I have talked a lot to Troy. I've talked a lot to the mayor, and I've talked to others. Is it the best way? I don't know if there is a best way. It can be an effective way to do it and still be a cost-effective way. My recommendation to the mayor in Troy was if they want to go this route, give it a shot and say, okay, at 3 months, 6 months, let's evaluate where we are. If it's effective, let's continue doing it. If at a year we do another, another discussion to see where we are and it's not working, then do something else. I don't have a problem with what you all have proposed, and I have seen it work in another location. Not saying it's the best or the worst. It is a way to do it, and a lot of big companies do that.
So I'll ask a question. If this position is so important, why did we just find out about it last Friday? We found out at the mayor's budget announcement, and I asked both of you. So that's my question. You think we'd have some sit downs and some.
To be fair, Councilmember, you asked me last Friday.
I asked you and you looked at Jay.
And we also sent out an email to you that we are putting out an RFP. So this position, and I'm not dumbing down any position, would manage really the IT staff that would look over public works and the sportsplex. The department heads would have a company that would manage their public safety part, which we've been discussing this for over 2.5 years. When the ambulances aren't working or the servers aren't in there or the blue boxes aren't working, there's too much public safety at risk. So putting out the RFP wasn't an option for me. I won't give in on that. I would rather you ask me these questions than why I let someone get hurt or explain it to their family while we're sitting on this money and this opportunity and we didn't take it. As far as this person that we have in consideration, the people that she'd be managing and her qualifications. I'm sorry, if the scoreboard doesn't work during a tournament, that's an inconvenience and kids will get angry, but it's not a life safety issue. The department heads that are running public safety would have contractors, depending on who's chosen, up to 15 or 20 different specialties, like your hospitals and doctors do, to make sure the public's safety. I could not let this go on any longer. It's not an option.
You're saying
I just feel like
without this position,
We
people
felt
are
that with the
unsafe?
contractors to cover public safety, that this position was fine with communications and integration, because it's done everywhere, to handle the contracts, to make sure people are paid, to deal with the department heads. We discussed this strongly with the department heads, that they had someone in that position that they could work with and trust and communicate with, and not call me around that previous people complaining. This is no willy-nilly thing. This has been 2 years in discussion.
Just found out about it.
There's only so, and you may have, and to that I'll apologize. There's
Well,
only so
and
much
I just-
personnel I can bring to you.
We're left in the dark all the time. And things are brought to us when it's time for us to vote on. I've heard that's, and it's not right.
I have a question over here. Travis.
Oh, there you go. Yes, ma'am.
My question is about the RFP. If this position basically is going to oversee the RFP, is there any way that we can know what the RFP was for, which is what she's going to, am I understanding that right?
I think so. RFP was for the
mean,
outsourcing.
the one
Right,
that we-
right. Isn't that going to be, isn't that what you're saying, that that's part of her, going to be her, or this person's responsibilities to oversee the contractors?
So I'm confused. What do you mean, what it's for? It's to hire a company to do services for PD, fire, and ECC's already contracted, EMS. I keep forgetting,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Based on what Clayton has said about that, that the outsourcing is going to be 90%, is that what your
I'm
calculation?
just saying.
Okay,
That's-
so,
Actual percentage.
okay, so then, I guess I'm trying to understand the connection, if there is a connection between the RFP and this new position.
There would be a connection from the standpoint of this. We're not filling the original IT director position,
Okay,
and we're combining positions. They would be communicating with the department heads and with this contractor, partly to make sure that we're coordinated together with the services here at the city, because some of those services will still stay with the city. Cybersecurity, email, those kinds of things would still stay with the city. And that's what the IT team would be working on and working with. in that
Whether this
regards.
position stays or leaves impacts nothing with that RFP. That bid is still out there. You all are going to award that bid. We are going to have someone come in and help contract the IT side of the city.
They need a
911
point
center,
person though.
correct? I'm
They
sorry.
need a point person though.
But I'm saying it's almost like the two things aren't together. We're approving the job description. We're not approving whether we bid with someone and bring them in to contract IT work. That's already done. They're coming regardless. And we actually have things on the books now under those IT positions. There's two different ones. So someone could have been moved up a step to have a supervisor ability of one person.
Again, if we go into personnel issues, we need to go into closed session.
That's not a personnel, that's a
We're not.
position. I'm talking a pay grade 17, a pay grade 19, which are different pay grades on the scale currently. Two different IT technical positions.
That is correct.
So one could supervise the other.
Again,
Positions by
those
the
are,
charter.
if we're talking about specific
We're not-
individuals in
I'm not-
those jobs, I mean, to me, you are at this time.
I'm trying to
We can
avoid
stop.
it because I feel like the unethical backing behind this job description is part of the problem. Chairman, I stick with my motion.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. We'll go ahead and we'll call the clerk to call a roll.
Let's talk about.
Do you want to clarify
what-
the motion?
Yeah, clarify it again, please.
It's a motion to remove the Information and Technology Director position.
Which is the newly created position.
Newly created. Correct. If you vote yes, you're removing it. If you say no, you're good with keeping it. Correct.
And further discussion, Mr. Chair,
Sure.
there are no other options that we have
Yeah,
in this
that was-
motion
That's my
to
question.
possibly,
Is there, that, I agree. I want to know if there's any other options. Okay.
Yeah, unless the motion is amended, right? So, so I just want to say, at some point, we need to trust our city manager and our mayor, and we need to allow them to have some flexibility along with the HR director, in my personal opinion, to work through this transition that we have. And I would like to, you know, maybe if the position didn't, am I wrong, is the position is moving from 17 to 21?
Correct.
Yeah. So maybe the position doesn't move from 17 to 21, maybe it moves less or something like that. I don't know. There's got to be some other options that we could discuss or whatever. But the bottom line is, I think at some point we just, in a transition like this, you know.
Let's clarify the motion one more time before we vote, please.
I have this as to remove the new position of Information and Technology Director.
Be just not to accept the new position, newly created position.
Yes, to get rid of it, no.
Get rid of it, you vote yes.
No.
Councilmember Craig,
No.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Sumner, Councilmember Meek,
Yes.
Councilmember Bogard,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez.
No.
Councilmember Drought,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
No.
Councilmember Marsh,
No.
Councilmember Crabtree.
No.
5-5.
That's a tie.
So it fails. Motion fails. Just move on, okay. All right, so that, we'll move on to item B, new business, fiscal year 25-26 capital budget discussion.
Yeah.
You're up again.
Get me back to where we were. This will be easier, I promise. All right, for the capital budget for fiscal year 25-26, revenue based on our ordinance from previous, but that's the revenue we're looking at that has been projected. And then we go into the expenses. Of course, it's matching again. It's a balanced budget. The data storage project for information technology for $190,000. The police department, HPD vehicles and equipment. That's the vehicles along with the equipment that goes inside. Body cameras and weapons. These are the tasers. Fire department, fire truck replacement plan, adding $350,000. City maintenance, backhoe replacement, $170,000. Mower replacement, $22,000. A UTV, $23,000. Boston Chapel bathrooms, $35,000. And Gander Park projects, $20,000. Then continue on with downtown improvements, $30,000. That's for the new trash receptacles and benches with the downtown entertainment center coming in. And park improvements, that's mostly landscaping, replacement of old equipment, stuff like that. Fort Campbell contracts, $22,000 for sign printing equipment. Parks and Rec, building upgrades, $70,000. That's for floor and paint, if I remember right, Toby. Buildings and properties, public safety, our $550,000 bond. And then transfers. Transfer again is to the MRA. That's the additional funds that the mayor is sending to MRA for more road paving for the next fiscal year. Slide. And then a quote, a budget is not just a collection of numbers, but an expression of our values and our aspirations. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
I would like to go back to the page that had the Gander Memorial on it.
Yeah.
Is it possible to pull that back up? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Gander Park projects, does that include, or does that include the Eternal Flame thing that's in there?
No.
No, okay.
Helicopter and
I got you. So that's, I thought that was being handled in another way. I got you. Okay, so, yeah. And this is yearly budget that we're talking about.
This is for the full fiscal year.
Mhm.
minus any budget adjustment amendments that come at that time.
As crazy as fire trucks are in cost, that seems small for some reason.
Yeah, they've done a good job.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other discussion, questions? All right. Oh, I went out of order here. We should have voted on the previous one.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
We can go back. So the operational budget, we'll go back and vote on that
I think a motion we pass
I'll
on.
second.
as amended. Yeah, as amended.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that one? Roll call on that as well. Yep.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
No.
Councilmember Sumner,
No.
Councilmember Meek,
No.
Councilmember Bogard, Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell, Councilmember Drought,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
No.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree.
Yes.
5 yes. 5 no.
That one, well, that's a tie as well. All right, so now we'll move to the capital budget. We'll go ahead and
I'll make a
entertain
motion that we
there.
forward the capital budget.
Second.
Second, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion there? Roll call on that. We'll do it all.
Okay. All right. Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Sumner,
Yes.
Councilmember Meek,
Yes.
Councilmember Bogard,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez, Councilmember Drought,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Yes.
and that passes.
All right. Item C, under new business, fiscal year 24-25 operational budget amendment.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clayton.
Good evening.
Hi.
All right, we're going to talk about the operational budget amendment number 3. I'm going to start with business license revenue, and I've tried to pair up what kind of goes with what. So we've had an increase, or we're trying to plan for an increase in budget in the business license revenue, and that relates to the transfers to the future fire station fund and the economic development fund by the MO that you guys passed, where we have to divide that money 50-50. So that's that one, MO 54 2022. Next slide, please. And then this is the transfer you guys recommended of the, we're moving money in from the grant fund, and we're going to move that money into the Party Lane Park fund. We have to do that by budget amendment, even though you guys expressed that as your wishes. We have to put it financially in the budget. Next slide, please. This is the overtime reimbursement that we get from the ambulance board. This is an increase in revenue. It's a wash and an increase in the expense. So after we do this, EMS department will no longer be over budget. Next slide, please. The building permit fees are coming in more than we budgeted, so we need additional funds. This is also a wash. This goes in our pass-through money, so it's money in and money out. The insurance premium tax is where we get our capital funds. So this, when I get to the capital budget, this is the increase in insurance premium tax that I've been telling you guys all year, that we've been having more insurance come in, and then we have to do the transfers to capital. And then the last slide is, I think, everything else. So it is, we're taking the rest of the insurance premium tax and some of the additional payroll tax money, and we're funding the items that need additional money in them. Information technology is running over budget, which I've been telling you guys all year, by about $40,000 should cover the increase we've had in software costs. Legislative operations is also over budget, partly due to the fact of the consultant that we budgeted more money into next year. Fire prevention, this was our first full year budgeting for them, and we've come up a little bit short, so we need a little bit more money in their payroll. Agencies, where you have $4,500 going to the Arts Council. We're going to put some more in the Health Trust. We need some more money in our insurance line. And then we need some more money in our incentives and rebates And then we have committed to paying the two-way radios. And so this will take care of the two-way radio payment that we have to pay to the county for the bond payment for the radio towers. Sorry. Be happy to answer any questions about the operational budget amendment number 3.
All right, any questions? Then we need a motion to send an ordinance forward to city council.
Motion.
And a second. Any further discussion there? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next, capital budget amendment.
All right, so what is going to happen with the capital budget amendment? This is the increase in the insurance premium that I just told you guys we had to transfer more money. What we're recommending is that the convention center has asked for $200,000 from the city to help pay for air conditioning. If you could, next slide, please. This is the revenue coming in, and just go to the expenses. That's where I started. $200,000 to go to the Hopkinsville Christian County Conference and Convention Center, and then we're going to transfer $283,788 to MRA. And then is the MRA slide after that one, or is it back up? That one. What's going to happen with the MRA money? That $283,000, we're going to put $150,000 into street construction, $83,788 into sidewalk construction, and then $50,000 into some drainage improvements that became aware during the floods in April.
All right, any questions?
I do.
Yes, sir.
With the air conditioning units on the convention center,
Yes.
because the county also uses that, is the county also contributing to that fund an equal amount?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
they asked the county for 200, they asked us for 200,
Okay.
and the Bruce was gonna put 200. And the reason they're trying to do this is one thing, so they don't have to pay that extra expense for that crane to come up and set up. Every time that crane sets up, it's roughly $2,500 to $3,000 every time it sets up.
I think it's
Yeah.
23 units. Is that what
Yes,
it is?
23 units for
It's
that.
correct, yeah.
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 But that building is 20-plus years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like this building here, it needs love too.
They're anticipating $600,000 in expense, and this is a third of that.
All right.
I'll make a motion. We forward this.
Ma'am. Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion there? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes as well. So we have a meeting that was, if necessary, on the 15th. It seems like that meeting is now necessary. So we'll be back here the 15th at 6 p.m. to discuss the operational budget. And just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second. All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.